You know, when it comes to Jarrell Miller, I noticed that a lot of boxing fans always seem to only look at the bad qualities in Jarrell Miller. Like, they don't look at the good qualities. I mean, if you look at any video where they post on YouTube talking about Jarrell Miller, like his highlights or even like on the HBO highlights, in his fight between him and Marius Wack, or in his fight in his highlights, or the full fight video of Jarrell Miller versus Gerald Washington, if you read the comments, like 90% of the comments are just talking about the bad qualities of Jarrell Miller. You know, he's out of shape, he's slow, he doesn't have the best defense. But they don't talk about the good qualities. They don't talk about the fact that Jarrell Miller has a really good engine for a guy who weighs 300 pounds. Well, now he weighs 284 pounds, but they don't talk about that. You would think a guy who weighs as much as Jarrell Miller would be gassing out by round 4, right? I mean, think about it. Normally, when you see a guy as big as Jarrell Miller, they gas out by round 4. They gas out, these big men. But one thing that impressed me with Jarrell Miller, and that has always impressed me with Jarrell Miller, is he has the endurance to go 12 rounds without slowing down. And he's as big as he is. That is genetics, because normally when you're that big, you gas out. You gas out. Many heavyweights, and you see many heavyweights do this. They even not even heavyweights, other fighters in lower weight classes, they gas out. Jarrell Miller doesn't gas out. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't gas out. Imagine if he were to lose, get down to like 265, 270. Wouldn't you think that would benefit him? Wouldn't you think he'll have an even better, work engine? You know what I'm saying? That's why I've always been impressed by him. The fact that he's so big and he has the endurance to go 9 rounds. I mean, just look at guys like Anthony Joshua. Another perfect example, Derek Chisora. You know, Derek Chisora, when he fought Dillian White, he weighed like 240 pounds. Look at that fight. Look at the second half of that fight. Derek Chisora was exhausted. He was tired. The first 5 rounds, he was energetic. He was, coming forward. But look at the second half of that fight. Derek Chisora was so tired that he would literally just stop punching, and he would just like literally position his body right against the ropes. That was fatigue. He was tired. Jarrell Miller weighs like 40 pounds more than Derek Chisora, and he doesn't get tired like that. So that's why I've always been impressed with that. Imagine if he were to lose weight. You know what I'm saying? People complain about the fact that he's not a puncher. So what? Evander Holyfield wasn't a puncher. Evander Holyfield beat many top elite heavyweights, but he wasn't a puncher. You want to know what Evander Holyfield had? He had heart, and he had a work engine. In his prime, Evander Holyfield could outwork anyone. He was a good inside fighter. You think Evander Holyfield had more punching power than Mike Tyson? Do you? Absolutely not. Mike Tyson hit 3 times harder than Evander Holyfield. You think Evander Holyfield had more punching power than Riddick Bowe? Absolutely not. Even George Foreman had more power than him. Lennox Lewis had more power than him. But what did Evander Holyfield had? He had a work engine. He was he could outwork guys. And that's how he beat Mike Tyson. I'm pretty sure when Mike Tyson first fought Evander Holyfield, everybody thought, oh, this guy doesn't have a punch. He's not a puncher. Mike Tyson is the bigger puncher. He's going to just KO this guy. But look what happened. Evander Holyfield went on the inside against Mike Tyson, roughed him up and beat him. And he didn't have the punching power. But he had the talent. And this is why I tell people, when I see people make fun of guys like Jarrell Miller and say, he's a hype job, he's this. Americans are overrating him. Americans are overrating him. Dillian White will, knock him out. Anthony Joshua will knock him out. If you look at the history of boxing, dude, just because the guy hits harder doesn't mean he's going to win automatically. I wouldn't be surprised if Jarrell Miller were to beat Anthony Joshua, because Jarrell Miller has a better engine. And if this fight went on the second half and if Anthony Joshua was exhausted, and if Anthony Joshua's punching power wasn't able to hurt Jarrell Miller, imagine what would happen. And Jarrell Miller has a better engine than Anthony Joshua, even though he's out of shape. Same thing goes with like Dillian White. You know, Dillian White is not a puncher himself. You see a lot of UK boxing fans always chastise Jarrell Miller. Dillian White gasses out in fights. Let's say Dillian White finds himself in round 7 and he's exhausted. And he has a 280-pound guy in his face who's physically stronger than him, because I think Dillian White is not as physically strong as Jarrell Miller. And like say he keeps throwing his punches and he keeps outworking him, and he doesn't gas out the way Derek Chisora gassed out, because Derek Chisora gassed out and he gave Dillian White the opportunity to come back. What do you think is going to happen? Dillian White doesn't have the punching power to stop or hurt Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller has one of the best chins in boxing. What's amazing, in my opinion, about Jarrell Miller is he has the ability to break a guy's will. I like the fact that he's fighting these big men, because it's preparing him for the big guys in the division, because all the top guys, well, the majority of them are tall guys, right? So he's fighting these guys that are 6'7", 6'8". That's just going to prepare him. You know what I'm saying? You know, we could all sit here and criticize every fighter's performance. Oh, he couldn't brutally knock out Mariusz Wach. Anthony Joshua couldn't brutally knock out Carlos Takam. And Carlos Takam got brutally knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. So does that mean Deontay Wilder's not... I mean, does that mean Anthony Joshua's not a big puncher? Does that mean that? No. Dillian White could not knock out Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius... I don't give a damn that he was schooling Johan Duhaupas. He still got knocked out against Johan Duhaupas. That wasn't a lucky punch. Johan Duhaupas landed a flush punch, and he knocked out Robert Helenius. Why couldn't Dillian White knock him out? Why didn't no one chastise him? If you look at the Dillian White fight versus Robert Helenius, and if you look at the Robert Helenius versus Johan Duhaupas fight, Robert Helenius was fighting the exact same way he fought against Dillian White. He was moving on the back foot. He was trying to outbox him. He was fighting negative. Yet Johan Duhaupas had the ability to stop Robert Helenius. How come he could stop Robert Helenius but Dillian White couldn't? You see? So we have to realize that no fighter's perfect. And if guys like Jarrell Miller, I believe he's a problem at the top of the top. I don't think none of these heavyweights are perfect. I'm not like a lot of these fanboys who think everyone's perfect. I do think that Jarrell Miller will lose one day. But I think even if he loses, I think he'll give anyone hell, because he has such a good granite chin. I've never seen Jarrell Miller get stopped. This is a guy who was taking kicks to the face in kickboxing and MMA. He used to fight in MMA against guys like Marco Kroc, one of the best. He had one of the best knockout leg kicks. So this is a guy with a granite chin. Everybody's always chastising him, but they're kissing Anthony Joshua's ass and Dillian White's. The patriotism, it's amazing. But yeah, guys, just a little video, just letting you know.